Okay guys, I'm here on a job site. This is in Chesterfield, just outside of Cloyne Heights, off of Laurel Road. Okay, this is the Kester job. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom rancher. Right now I am standing in the master bedroom. One thing I will point out, you will notice if you look over here, this is a box for a receptacle. In this box you have what is 12-2 cable, okay, 12-2 Romex cable. That is good for 20 amps. Now, normally in bedrooms you will see a white wire or white cable, 14 gauge wire, which is good for 15 amps. That is the minimum for the code and typical practical application. Right here, he has opted to go for 12 gauge wire to oversize it. This is his personal house. He is actually wiring it himself. Now, one thing I will point out, if you look here, right here, the code states that we have to be 1.25 inches from the edge of the framing member. This is a code violation. He will have to change that most likely, as the inspector will fail him for that. Okay? Another thing you'll notice on this box, it's upside down, but that's a B122. What that means is this is a single gang box rated for 22 cubic inches. Each one of these wires inside this cable is 2.25 cubic inches. Okay, so you do the math and figure out he could go up to 3 of these cables without having any issues. The device counts as 2. The device counts as 2 conductors. Alright, coming into the bathroom. Now in the bathroom, in the bedrooms, all of our devices, all of our receptacles have to be arc fault protected. In the bathrooms and in the kitchens and outside, all your receptacles have to be ground fault protected. Now, in this particular application, he has chosen to use ground fault breakers. A lot of times you will see ground fault receptacles that are at the point. Wherever the first feed comes in, that's coming from the service location will be right over here. It'll be coming from the service up and over, around to here. So the line that's coming from the service, that's where the ground fault would be hooked to, and it would feed the rest of the circuit. Another thing I want to point out, right here, we have a bath fan. Now this is a 110 CFM bath fan. Now you'll notice that on the end of the bath fan, it actually has a 4-inch receiver. But in the 2015 code, in the IRC, it's going to be table 1504.2, I believe. He's actually going to be required to run a 6-inch duct. If he's using flex, he's going to be required to run a 6-inch duct. He will likely go straight out the side here. A lot of times you'll see guys drop in, see that open space, that's going to be a soffit. A lot of times you'll run your ductwork into the soffit. Now if he runs solid duct and he decides to put a 90-degree bend or a 90-degree elbow, he has to factor in an additional 15 feet. There are maximum footages per a ductwork that you have to have. Speaking of ductwork, if you look up here, you notice here that we have insulation and then there's no insulation. That's because they're not done with the system. Anytime you're running ductwork, conditioned ductwork, it needs to be insulated. It has to be insulated all the way. Every bit of that duct has to be insulated. So they will have to insulate all that. The good news is we can show you at these joints, there is tape, metal tape at each of these joints. If there's a mechanical fixed joints, you'll notice that there's a different type of tape. Both types of tape are UL listed, have to be UL listed. Okay? Back to plumbing. I know I'm jumping around, but there's a lot in this property that we want to cover in a short period of time. Right here, you'll notice what this is. This is actually a main venting system. Okay? You'll notice you've got one coming up here, a stack coming up. This is a 2-inch drop. It's converted into an 1.5-inch stack for vent. That is code. Okay? It's going to come over the next vent over here. Come up. It's done the same way. You'll notice that it flows. Notice how the T's are flowing towards the direction where the vent actually goes out the ceiling. Or out the roof, sorry. Out the roof. Right there. Okay? That allows those gases that build in the system to flow out. Alright. Moving on. This is the kitchen. Now, one thing I wanted to point out here. This is slab construction. I wish you guys could have seen it come in. There's a lot of work that happened very fast. But unfortunately, we weren't here for that. So this is my sink for the kitchen. This is going to be a 2-inch drain. That is code. And then here you'll notice we have a gray conduit. That's electrical conduit. This particular conduit is 3/4. Okay, he's going to be running 20. He actually got 3 feet that have to run through this line. Okay, all 20 amp. He's going to be feeding the dishwasher, which can be 15 amps, but he's going to wire in 12 gauge wire, which is good for 20 amps. The disposal circuit, which can also be 15 amps, but he's going to wire it in 12 gauge wire, which is good for 20 amps. And also there is going to be the receptacle circuit. In every island, you have to have a minimum of 1 receptacle, GFI protected, 20 amp. But in this particular case, he has a sink, which means there's going to be a break in the countertop. He will be required to have 2 receptacles, one on either end of the sink or on the countertop as a whole. Those receptacles will have to be within 12 inches of the top when it is finished. We can cover that in a later video. Now, the other thing I want to point out. This house does not have any exterior doors or windows in it. Okay? Technically, he should not be installing the trades in this house without these. However, if we come outside and we turn and face the house, you'll notice that there's hvac wrap. Okay? Our windows and doors have been prepped. And we have a roof, a finished roof. So it is partially dried in enough to make an inspector happy. Okay? But just know that that is code. It does have to be dried in. Now, here is something unique. I've actually never seen it before. But this particular person is actually a plumbing and HVAC contractor, so he's on the cutting edge. This system right here is actually a wall-mounted toilet system. And what you'll notice right here, this is your tank. This is your tank, okay? That's the tank for the flush valve. Very cool. Never seen one before, but now I have, and so have you. Very cool. This is the mounting system right here. These are not plumbing pipes. These are threads that the toilet mounts to. This is the main drain, 3-inch. Oops. This is your clean out, sorry. And here is your plumbing line. Okay, that's what's giving you your cold water to your tub. Alright, that's about it. We're going to cover some more in another video. Hope you gathered what I was talking about. Have a great day.